Hello there guys, LazyBeast here. Now what we're going to be doing today is having a deeper look into Zereth Mortis, and we'll look more into the reward systems of Zereth Mortis and what we're going to be doing there on sort of a daily and a weekly basis. I'm not intending on going too deep into any of these story spoilers and mentioning any specific characters or anything like that, but if you do want to go there with totally fresh eyes, then it's probably better to not watch this video. So let's first talk about how do we get there. So this is pretty simple really. What will happen is as soon as you log in when 9.2 launches, you'll get a quest in your log immediately, and very early on in that quest line you will find yourself in Zereth Mortis, so it's really easy to get there. As far as getting back to the normal Shadowlands zones and everywhere else, there is a waystone that's just outside of Haven, and you'll see this because this is where you'll come in from, so it's quite easy to get back. And if you're outside of Zereth Mortis and you want to get back to it, there's a portal there in Oribos on the same level as the Flight Master, and this will also be marked on your map for you too. So Zereth Mortis is quite an interesting place to explore. As was mentioned in Blizzard's preview, the water is unlike anything you've ever seen before. There's floating islands, which we've never seen before, sorry Nagrand, and quite a few other zones. But jokes aside, it is a pretty cool zone, it's quite nice to explore. So, when you get into Zereth Mortis, you'll basically hit the ground running with the next chapter of the campaign quest, which is like chapter 3. So we've had the initial Covenant campaign, then we've had the Chains of Domination campaign, and now it's this one. So that's the first thing that you are going to want to get your teeth stuck into. You will find some side quests dotted around which you can do at your own leisure, but definitely crack on with that campaign. Now through doing this is where you'll unlock the new system for 9.2, the cipher of the first ones. By the time you get around to doing this, you'll probably have encountered some mobs that talk in a different language, like a musical language. And when their text appears in the text boxes and chat, you won't be able to read it because it's all in symbols. But this system is what's going to help you understand and be able to communicate with these guys. Now thankfully it looks like this is taking place of them just increasing the renown levels, so you shouldn't, unless things change, have any more renown levels to get in 9.2, it should just stay at 80 being the max. So this system is similar to things that we've seen before, these sort of progression systems where you start off with nothing and then you gradually gain resources to power this up over time. Now as you can see from the video in the background, this does require some time to research. It's a bit like upgrading your Covenant Sanctum. When you increase tiers of the parts of your Sanctum, it takes anything from 12 hours, 24 hours, this one here takes 18 hours. And it may be the case that for the highest ranks it takes even longer, but we don't know yet. Hopefully it'll stay the same and not be any more, anything ridiculous, but yeah, it looks like 18 hours should be the research time for most of these things. So the currency that you're going to use to upgrade this system is called the ciphers of the first ones, and you'll get this similar to things that we saw in Korthia. You'll get this from doing daily quests, completing a weekly quest, killing bosses around Korthia and rares, and maybe probably some missions on your mission table as well, because that usually is the system that they follow. I'm unsure yet whether you'll be able to sort of farm this out if you wanted to really grind this, similar to how you can do with catalogue research and stuff in Korthia. I'm not sure yet if there's a way that you can do that, but you'll just get this naturally from just spending time doing activities within Zereth Mortis. So with the system comes this little friendly guy called the Pokopok, or if you posh, Pokopok. And he's basically a minion that you can summon when you're in Zereth Mortis. He doesn't appear to fight for you at the start, he may do later down the line, but he is a useful little guy. Now he is the one that is going to be responsible for helping you understand the language of the Autonomy, the residents of Zereth Mortis. He does have an energy system, so basically when you've got him summoned, he'll just gain energy slowly over time. I think you can eventually power him up so he gains energy at a faster rate, but initially it seems to be 1 energy every 10 minutes that you've got him by your side. So you can set him to find items that are of interest to you, but initially again, once he's not very powered up, he'll just show you things like this console that we found. So as you can see that he's given us some understanding of the language of the Autonomy, but not that much, so we can just make out a few words, but in time we'll be able to come back and read this thing in full, and it might unlock something interesting. Now there was the idea that this system is what will eventually lead to us being able to equip 2 legendaries, but I can't actually see that on this table. Now it does say that it will increase in rank based on how much of the ciphers of the first ones we've spent to upgrade the system, so we'll have to see if that's like another tier later down the line. So the cipher of the first one system and the Pokopok minion, as well as the new campaign quests, are going to be basically the main focus of Zereth Mortis when you first get there and for the first sort of few weeks. But I know what you're thinking, what are the other rewards from Zereth Mortis? Why else should I go there? So you may have seen on the channel recently, I put out a little video about the sword transmog, because that's one thing that's coming from this, from some of the rares in Zereth Mortis, which are actually pretty cool. There's obviously going to be other rares, so there'll be new mounts, new pets. Now, thinking of hunters, there's obviously some quite interesting new models out for some of the autonomous beasts that are actually specified as beasts when you hover over them on the tooltip. So it looks like hunters may have some nice new models to look forward to in the patch. There's this really cool gun that some of the NPCs use that has like a zap animation, so if that is a weapon that becomes available to be used by hunters, then that is something to look forward to definitely, because that is very unique. There's potentially 2 new factions. Only one of them is listed in the factions page on the PTR so far, called the Automa. But there's also the Enlightened that look like they're going to be a faction as well, sort of the main faction of this zone. And they'll obviously have some rewards that go with there. Usually a mount, probably some transmog things, and probably a pet. That's usually the formula that it follows. There are dailies to be done in this zone that unlock pretty early on in the campaign quests. And as far as weekly activities are concerned, there's a new world boss here, which will drop a decent high level loot when this patch first starts and everyone's gearing up again. And there also seems to be a weekly quest, again just like we saw in Korthia, which is basically just doing activities around the zone to help out our allies. And then once that's completed, you'll probably get a bunch of research for the system with the Pock and some other stuff and a bit of rep. So yeah. Overall impressions with this zone so far, the zone itself is really good, like interesting to explore, fun to look around. Obviously the art team always do a good job regardless. The systems, they seem fine. The Pock thing is, you know, we've had a similar thing in the past. It is something that's a bit new. Hopefully we do need to use this guy in interesting ways to, you know, navigate through this zone. I'm just hoping it doesn't become a bit of a chore, sort of escorting his ass around, and then, you know, he's just looking at interesting stuff and he's like, mate, I've seen that 16 times already, come on. So yeah, we'll see on that one. Dailies are dailies, world quests are world quests. It's a new zone, it's fresh. Let's be honest, most of us are just going to smash through them as fast as possible. The campaign though, that does seem interesting, some cool stuff going on there. A couple of characters that I won't spoil that are going to come back for that you might be interested in. But yeah, the campaigns are always pretty decent quests. But in a nutshell, this is basically 9.2's version of Korthia, with a couple of slightly more interesting systems. Okay, and with that said, there we go guys. Let me know what you think about this new zone and how it looks so far in the comments. Thank you very much for watching guys, I've been LazyBeast, with a bit of a cold today as you probably guessed by the voice, apologies for that. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.